Howdy Simmers, I'm TheSimmingKoalaa, and welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a good day. I want to start this video off by apologizing for the lack of videos on my channel. If you guys follow me on Twitter or if you're in my Discord, you'll know that my family was visiting not too long ago. Well, immediately after that, I got COVID. So it's been a rough week. I don't plan ahead for these things, so there were no videos out last week. I'm sorry. Anyway, it's been 2 weeks since the Sims Summit stream, and I want to kind of recap what all went down and give my thoughts and opinions on it. And for anyone who is subscribed to me on here, who is not involved in the Sims community, because I know I have some friends on here who support me and are not involved in the Sims at all, let me tell you what this is. The Sims Summit was a stream event that the Sims team hyped up for like a month. We were expecting news over The Sims 4 and over the Sims Mobile and The Sims Replay, which are two mobile apps for The Sims. And honestly, I'm kind of underwhelmed. First of all, when they said that the event was only going to be like half an hour long, I immediately knew that we were not going to get a lot of stuff. And I think a lot of people will agree with me when I say that it felt very rushed. They moved through things very quickly, and there really was a lot of nonsense and unnecessary things in the stream. They go over stuff about the plumb bob, they talk about that a lot. There was a dance number, which, as fun as I'm sure it was really not necessary amongst many things. There really was not a lot of actual news that was shown. There were some big things, but overall it was very underwhelming. And I'm just gonna go through the stream and kind of talk you through it, walk you through it, show you what all was going down. Towards the beginning of the stream, they were kind of talking about how it started. So from where we were with the original Sims all the way to where we are now with The Sims 4, and even like the very beginning of The Sims 4 with how different it is now from what it used to be like 8-9 years ago. I don't remember how long this game has been out for, but it really did seem like they were kind of hyping it up for something big to come. Here they are showing off some of the Create a Sim stuff over time. There's definitely been a lot of changes to The Sims 4 since then. I think the newest thing was like, we got some more like identity-based stuff and sexuality-based stuff because of high school years. Because the game has just gone free, they've made like a whole new trailer. They've been trying to show off all of the chaos that The Sims can have, basically. Although The Sims 4 is quote-unquote chaotic, it's not the most chaotic of the Sims games. I actually think that The Sims 2 is probably the most chaotic, just because of how difficult of a game it is. It really is challenging to take care of your Sims, and just so many things can happen. I think the first two games in general are definitely the more untamed. Sims 4 is definitely a lot more tame compared to other Sims games. So this is where they're kind of reminiscing over just the years of The Sims, how many players have done what, like how many uploads there are to the gallery, how many Sims have died over the last several years, and the evolution of The Sims 4 each season that we have, where new content comes and things. This is kind of interesting, but also kind of annoying. So they did tease two new expansion packs releasing next year, but they literally only show like some like pictures of like concept art, and then they don't mention it for the rest of the stream. And it's kind of ridiculous. But we have two new worlds. There are a few kind of cool things if you look closely. Like, there's in the second picture, there's a kid riding a bike. Currently, kids can't actually ride bikes in The Sims. Only like teens through elders can, which makes no sense because as a teen and like teen and young adult, because I'm not that old, I never rode my bike. I rode my bike a lot when I was a kid because, I had a bike back then and, I had use for it. So the fact kids can't ride bikes yet is kind of weird, but it's looking like maybe in the future there's a chance of it. You also can see there's a little child on this person's back. Like, I don't know what that thing is called, but they have one of those, like, kind of cloth child strap things that you wear when you're like going places with your kid. You can like put them in there and like kind of have them on you while you're walking around. I don't know what they're called. I'm sorry. This one looks like San Francisco, maybe just because of the bridge. I don't know. I don't know what this first one would be though. So from what I can tell there's kind of a pattern with worlds. They're always based on real places, and I don't exactly know my geography very well, so I don't really know where these places are inspired off of. But this first one in particular, I'm actually really excited to see what that ends up looking like, whatever it ends up being. And they showed us some new like concept art for objects, which is really cool. There's kind of this like bump out in one of the counters here, which looks kind of interesting. And we have some new kitchen stuff. It's all kind of basic, but I really like it, honestly. And I will never say no to new objects, honestly. And we also kind of got shown these few things. I don't know if these are all from the same packs or if it's like bits and pieces of new kits or maybe stuff packs if they do return. Nothing's been announced yet. But we have like the teeth in the water cup here, which a lot of people are associating with elders. So we could potentially get some kind of elder related thing in the future. Or it could just be like a clutter kit or something. This like I can't tell if it's a lingerie set or a bathing suit, but it looks like it has some kind of like brand, quote unquote brand thing going on with it, kind of like Calvin Klein. So there's a chance that could be maybe like another one of their collaborations with the brand. Think like the Moschino stuff. Oh man, that was something else, or like the MAC makeup. But yeah, I mean, nothing too out there. Really, I think the teeth is the only eye catcher. But yeah, we get a few looks at some things and then that's it. They just don't address it anymore. They had this segment with Kelsey and Peach K where she's going around asking people what they know about The Sims, basically. And while this is like kind of a cute thing, again, really unnecessary, it's filler content and that's not what we're here for. Like I usually avoid looking at chat when The Sims streams just because the chat is always so full of negativity and chaos and I just don't like looking at it. But I know for a fact that like the chat with this particular stream was just like constantly like show us news, what is this? Because it's so unnecessary and so unimportant. But I mean, really, we get maybe like 4 minutes of content and a 30-minute stream, and then the rest is just kind of whatever. Moving on to the stuff that went on with the Sims Free Play and the Sims Mobile. I have an on and off kind of relationship with the Sims mobile games because I don't play them that much, but on occasion I'll get like a weird feeling of like wanting to play them. So I'll like re-download them on my phone, I'll hop into them, just look at, games past. I think The Sims Free Play has been out longer than The Sims 4 at this point. Like I feel like it came in during The Sims 3 days. And they announced something kind of cool and something that I think was actually needed. And it's that they got a graphics update for The Sims. Like The Sims and The Sims Free Play have been ugly for years. And I don't necessarily hate The Sims Free Play or The Sims Mobile. They're both really good games. It's the real time factor that kind of turns me away from them because we don't have like a fast forward button or anything in these games. It's all based on real time. So if you send your sim to work, you have to wait 8 actual hours for them to be done with work. And it's really kind of annoying. We have 2 of the sim gurus who actually work on the Sims Free Play in this part actually talking about what's coming to the Sims Free Play. So you'll see they have some kind of facial graphics. The Sims change a little bit. It's not like a drastic change or anything, I think, but it's definitely a lot better than what this was. Here they are. So again, it's not like much of a drastic change, but I definitely think it looks better. And you can kind of see the difference between them. Like, it's just a lot smoother, but not too drastic of a change. And I actually think that it works a lot better this way. They also showed that they were getting yachts added to this game, which I'm not gonna lie, I thought The Sims Free Play already had yachts. So, I guess not, but it's okay. As for The Sims Mobile, The Sims Mobile came out, I don't know how many years after The Sims Free Play. It was a few years into The Sims 4 being out, but they're adding balconies to The Sims Mobile. So I remember when they announced that we could finally get like a second level to a house in The Sims Mobile, which seemed like such a big game changer. It's really just kind of like a simple thing to be added. Like no one lives, well, some people, but like not everyone lives in a single story house. So them adding the second stories was really cool, but now they're adding balconies, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. I probably won't use the feature at all because again, I really don't play the Sims mobile games at all, but I mean, they're not bad. So it's just the real time factor. Like I said, let's talk about Project Renee. Project Renee is by far, I think, probably the biggest news that we had during the stream. And it's because it's supposed to be the next generation of The Sims. We don't know specifically if this is The Sims 5 or if it is another Sims project in works. Regardless, it is still years away from being an actual thing. I do have my concerns with it. Like, if you guys watched my video from the day of the Sims Summit, you know I had some things that I was expecting and some things that I just did not think were gonna happen. The Sims 5 was something that I did not think was going to be announced at all. I thought if they did announce a new game, it was going to be like a spin-off or a remaster of one of the previous Sims games. And right now they're not calling this The Sims 5, so I'm not going to call it The Sims 5. This is Project Renee. In whatever form it is like super early on. But from my understanding, they already have people playtesting the game, which is interesting. But as you can see, this is not final software at all because it is so early on. The UI is, of course, going to change. If you've seen any early screenshots from, like, back when The Sims 4 was being called Project Olympus, you know it's very different. But it looks like they are taking some aspects from The Sims 3 and putting them back into the game, so we're going to have the color wheel again. I will say this has a little bit more customization to it because you can change the angles of stuff. And I know people are, of course, comparing this to Paralives. They're both life sim games. There's only so much you can do, only so many original ideas. Again, this is still years away, so I'm not a big stickler about it. It's whatever. But it does kind of look cool. I am concerned about this, though, the mobile functionality. Now, I know a lot of people are against multiplayer in The Sims, and personally, I kind of agree, because when I play The Sims, you know, I am not someone who really plays multiplayer games. I'm someone who very much enjoys my single-player gaming. I like just doing things on my own. Multiplayer has its pros and cons. So for The Sims, I think if multiplayer is an optional feature that we can turn on and off, that is fine. So as long as it's not, like, a requirement or anything, as long as it's not something that is just going to happen regardless of whether or not we want it, I'm totally cool with it. And also, my guess is that most likely if the game is multiplayer, it's not going to be like you're playing with random people. You have a little, like, party of friends or so that you can bring into the game together and play as a group. It's not like you're playing with just complete strangers. But the fact that they are trying to get it to work on mobile is a little bit scary because we know that the limitations of mobile and the limitations of PC are very, very different. So that's a little concerning, but I mean, once we come closer to the actual release of the game and once we get more information, I'm sure that everything will be fine, right? Fingers crossed. I don't know how many fingers to cross for it to be like a good thing, but I'm just a little concerned. I think the biggest news in terms of Sims 4 happened at the very end of the stream, and it's where they kind of announced that babies, quote unquote, are becoming like free roaming. Essentially, like, look here. The babies are not in their cribs. We have like a bunch of new objects and stuff. Looks like a playpen here. And the baby is like crawling around. You can pick the baby up. It's really exciting because as we know, the Sims have been, when their babies have been tied to their cribs the entire time compared to other Sims games where you can literally hold them and like walk around and all that stuff. So it's really cool. However, from what I have been seeing on Twitter, this stage of like Sims lifespan or whatever is not actually a baby. It's in between babies and toddlers, and it's called infants. And so the actual babies, like newborn babies, are still going to be tied to their crib, but we're going to have a new life stage added to the span of like a Sim's actual life, where we have a little bit more freedom to, you know, mess with the younger ones and like actually do stuff with them, which is really exciting. When I was watching the stream and saw that, I audibly gasped because I was not expecting it. But it makes me so happy as a family game player to actually have like quote unquote free babies coming. So, this is something that people have been asking for years. I know it's not exactly what people were wanting, and I've been told it's coming in early 2023. So, we don't have an exact date yet, which is fine. Just we're getting them sometime early 2023. And it's already November, so just a couple months away, hopefully. Hopefully they do them justice. And yeah, that is the Sim Summit stream. Again, a lot of the stuff I feel was very unnecessary and just kind of filler content that no one really cared about. But there were some good things in it. I am a little bit disappointed in some of the lack of content that we had, like really them brushing over the fact that we have 2 new expansions coming and then not talking about them at all for the rest of the stream. Kinda lame. They did not address the 2 kits that have already kind of been leaked, at least the icons. They didn't say anything about those. And of course, nothing on my list of what I was hoping would be announced at the Sim Summit. None of that was there at all. Like, they didn't announce a roadmap, which I feel like this would have been the perfect time to. They didn't do any kind of merger of content between The Sims Free Play and The Sims 4. They're not bringing any content over from either platform to the other platform, which kind of a wasted opportunity. There was no mention of stuff packs returning, no mention of pack refreshes. So I feel very underwhelmed because there was so much more. There were so many opportunities to announce something like this. And I'm happy with the content that was announced, but I definitely feel like there could have been more. And I really don't think that, like, the Kelsey and Pichuke thing was necessary. I don't think the dance thing was necessary. Just, nah. I feel like they overhyped, which I think a lot of people were expecting, honestly. Like, I don't think any of us were really expecting it to be something worthwhile. I thought, yeah, it's The Sims. We're all kind of used to being disappointed at this point, I think, because, you know, EA. But yeah, that's my kind of thoughts and feelings. That's my 2 cents on it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about the whole Sim Summit thing. I know it's been a couple weeks and you guys are probably tired out of all the Sim Summit stuff, because from what I've seen, a lot of stuff has actually died down. A lot of the hype is just like non-existent anymore. So yeah. But let me know what your favorite part of the Sim Summit was, what you were most looking forward to. I would bet anything you guys are probably excited for Project Renee and probably the infant life stage. Let me know what your least favorite part of the Sim Summit was, because most likely we're on the same page, where we just think everything else was filler content. On that note, I'm a go. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel and make sure you have notifications on so you don't miss anything. Be sure to follow my socials, links are below. I'll see y'all soon. Bye.